Hi everyone, welcome once again to Chemistry Universe. But today, instead of doing chemistry, we're going to do a bit of mathematics. We are going to find out the value of pi using the Archimedes method. It's not Archimedes principle, we're talking about Archimedes method. Now, Archimedes didn't use exactly this method, but something very similar to it. So, I'm just going to explain what he did and what we are going to do. So, basically, Archimedes wanted to find the value of pi. And it was known at that time that the value of pi is nothing but the circumference of the circle upon the diameter. Now, today we know circumference of a circle is 2 pi r and the diameter is 2r. So, 2 pi r upon 2r is equal to pi. So, it was this basic formula that he used to calculate the value of pi. So, how did he do that? So, he started with a six-sided figure, a regular six-sided figure called a hexagon. So let me draw a hexagon first. And I was going to ask me how many sides I want. I want 6. So I get a regular hexagon now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a circle, but I want to draw a circle around this hexagon. For that I need the center. So I'm going to draw segments. So I'm going to draw a segment from A to D, segment from C to F, and B to E. 2 is enough, but I'm drawing all the 3 diagonals. And this is the midpoint of the hexagon and the center of the hexagon, and this is the center of the circle. So let me draw a circle. So I'm going to draw a circle starting at this point and growing out, and then it will touch all the corners of the hexagon. So I got a circle here. Now, what I need to do is, if you look at this hexagon, you will notice that the perimeter of the hexagon is going to be smaller than the perimeter of the circle. That is because if you look at the points A to B, the straight line is the shorter distance. You know, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So this curve from A to B is going to be longer than this side. Similarly, B to C straight line will be shorter than the curve B to C. So between every 2 consecutive points, you will notice that the curve always has a bigger length than the straight line. So obviously, if you add all of them up, the sum of these 6 straight lines is going to be smaller than the sum of these 6 arcs, which constitutes the perimeter of the circle. So obviously, the perimeter of the circle is larger than that of the hexagon. So what Archimedes did, he said that let's assume that this length is r. You know that each of these is an equilateral triangle. That's simply because around the angle around a point is 360. I've divided that into 6 parts. So this angle is 60. Now this is radius r and this is radius r, and based on the isosceles triangle rule, the opposite angles to equal sides will be equal. So this angle and this angle will also be equal because these 2 sides are equal. And this angle is opposite to this side. This angle is opposite to this side. So these 2 angles are equal. Sum of the angles is 180. This guy is 60. These 2 are equal. That makes them 60 each. So that's a very easy way of finding out that each of these triangles is an equilateral triangle. So if this radius is r, so is this length. This is also r. So what is the perimeter of the hexagon? It's going to be r plus r plus r, 6 times r. And what is the diameter of this? It is 2r. So if I were to take the perimeter of the hexagon and divided it by the diameter of the circle, I'm going to get the value of pi equal to 3. Now, obviously, the value of pi is not 3, but then that is because we are choosing the perimeter of the hexagon instead of the circle. And we know the perimeter of a hexagon is smaller than the circle. So the value of pi will obviously be more than 3. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to convert this 6, rather not convert, I'm going to draw a 12-sided figure inside the circle. And we have lovely tools to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all find the midpoint of the circle, and this is the midpoint of this A to F. Now the purpose of finding the midpoint is that I know that when I draw a 12-sided figure, there will be two sides in each of this single side. That means in the hexagon, between A to F, you have one side. In a 12-sided figure, there will be two of them. They will not be half of this, but there will be two of them. And the way to draw it is, once I find the midpoint, let me draw a ray that joins this to the center. Now let me zoom in a bit. And let me move this point a little bit. Okay, let this point be I, or maybe this point becomes I, or maybe I keep this point as I. Okay. Now it is touching the arc at this point. So I'm going to draw a 12-sided figure where one point will be F, the other point will be this, and then from here to A, I'll draw another length. So in this distance A to F, in this between these 2 points, instead of one line, I'm going to have 2 lines. So let me draw a regular polygon again. This time I'm going to draw a 12-sided one. So here I'm just going to start from F. I'm going to here, and then it's going to ask me how many sides do I want. I say 12, and lo and behold, I get a dodecagon. The 6-sided is hexagon, the 12-sided is a dodecagon. So let me zoom in a little bit. So this point is J. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the length of this 12-sided figure by knowing the length of the 6-sided figure. And the way that I'm going to do this is, first of all, I'm going to assume the radius to be 1. Okay, so the radius happens to be 1 unit. You can take it as any value, it doesn't matter, because ultimately we are all dependent on the ratios. And when the ratios are used, all these values get cut off. So it doesn't matter, you take it as 1, 2, you can take it as x, it doesn't matter. For the sake of convenience, I'm taking this as 1. Now I'm going to call the length of the 6-sided figure, the hexagon, as S1. So I'm going to call this as S1. So let me try using S1 here. So here I'm going to use S1. And this is S. And this is 1. So the length of the 6-sided figure is S1. Remember, this part is not S1. S1 is from this point to this point. Okay. So let me move some points here, because the K is coinciding with A. Okay. So S1 is A to F, remember. So this part, this half of this, because I've chosen this as the midpoint, will be S1 over 2. So S1 over 2. So here I'm going to have S1 over 2. Okay. So this point, this I to F is S1 by 2. This is half of this. Now we know, of course, S1 is also 1. We know S1 by 2 is 0.5. But I'm just going to keep it as S1 and S2 for the sake of convenience. And I'm going to call this length, this F to J, the side of the 12-sided figure, as S2. So this is S2. So I get S2 here. Now let me call this length from this point G to I as A. I'm going to call this as A. So I'm calling this length A. Okay, this is A. And I'm going to call this small portion as B. And I will get this B here. So this is B. So what are we going to do? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to calculate A. So what is A? Now remember, this is a right triangle. This GIF, this is a right triangle. This is 90 degrees. So by using the Pythagorean theorem, the hypotenuse square plus this square, the hypotenuse square will be equal to this square plus this square, right? So what is A equal to? It will be the hypotenuse square minus S1 by 2. So if I were to use this, this is what my A is going to be. 1 square minus S1 by 2 the whole square. That would be this distance A. So get this. A would be square root of 1 square minus S1 by 2 the whole square. Okay. So now let's try to get B. What is B? B is this distance. Now obviously it is 1 minus A, as you can see, because this entire is the radius. Okay. So it is 1 minus. So B is 1 minus A. B is 1 minus A. Okay. So now I know B. So what is S2? Now again you notice the right triangle because this angle is 90 degrees. So again S2, which becomes the hypotenuse, S2 would be square root of B square plus S1 by 2 the whole square. So S2 will be, I need to edit this. It's going to be a plus here. So it is B square plus S1 by 2 the whole square. That is what S2 will be. So what I'm basically doing is I'm using this length of the 6-sided figure to get the length of the 12-sided figure. So what's the basic point? By knowing the value of the 12-sided figure, I will again take the ratio of the perimeter of the 12-sided figure, which would be greater than that of the 6-sided figure, and divided by the diameter to get the value of pi again, which would be a little more accurate than what we did for a 6-sided figure. Now what Archimedes did was he started with a 6-sided figure, then he doubled it, he went to 12-sided figure, doubled it again, 24, doubled it again, 48, doubled it again, 96, and he did this by hand. Think about this, drawing these many figures by hand and using geometry to find the length of each of those figures. So he eventually approximated the value of pi by calculating the perimeter of the 96-sided figure and dividing it by the diameter of the circle. Now we have such wonderful tools here, which makes it so easy for us to draw and sort of calculate. And I'll just show you how I'm going to calculate this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an Excel sheet, a spreadsheet to get the values here. Now, as you can tell, I've already got a spreadsheet here. This is the value of the number of sites. This is the S1 that we did. This is the half of S1. This is the A that we calculated. This is the B that we calculated. This is the new S, the S2. And this is the perimeter of the new polygon. And this is the perimeter upon diameter based on the new polygon, which will get us the value of pi. So let's start with a 6-sided figure. Okay, so this is 6. Now to calculate S, remember we've already assumed the length to be 1 unit, right? So this is going to be 1 unit. So instead of calculating S by 2 as 0.5, I'm going to use a formula. The reason I'm going to use a formula is because when I use other sides, it will already help me use the formula. So the formula that I'm going to use would be equal to, and I'm using B2 upon 2. So the advantage of using this is when I pull this down for other values of n, it will automatically calculate S by 2. So now let's calculate what is A. So if you remember what is A when we calculated it, A is square root of 1 minus S1 by 2 the whole square. So 1 minus S1 by 2 the whole square. So equal to, and remember it's square root. So SQRT, it is going to be 1 minus S1 by 2, that is C2 squared. So now let me make sure that I get a better value of pi by getting more decimal points here. And I'm just calculating this. I'm just using more decimal points that I can get, so that, and the moment you hit zeros, you know that you got as high as you can. So let's check what is the value of B. Now B is 1 minus A. So B is 1 minus D2. Okay, I didn't put the equal to sign. Equal to 1 minus D2. So that's the new value of B, and I've got it to quite high number of decimals. So now what is the new S? Well, the new S, which is S2, is B square plus S1 by 2 the whole square. So B squared, that means E2 squared. E equal to E2 square, and I need to take the, I need to take the square root. I forgot to take the square root. SQRT E2 square minus C2 square. C2 square, close bracket. So I get the new value of S. So now let's get the perimeter. The perimeter is the number of sides multiplied by S. So I'm going to use all formulae. So it's number of sides multiplied by the side, which is B2. So I get 6. So now all I have to do is P by D. D is always going to remain 2. I'm going to use that constant 2. So this is going to be equal to perimeter, which is P2, equal to G2 divided by 2, and you get the value of 3. This is what we got. Okay. So now let's go for the next one. The next one, I'm not going to make it as 12. I'm just going to again use the formula. I'm going to say equal to this value and multiply that by 2. So that will automatically give me this. But here, instead of 1, because remember now I have to use the new S. So here I'm going to just use this value. So here I'm going to say equal to, and I just hit this, I get F2. This is my new side. Now I don't have to bother because everything is going to be calculated based on the formula. So now all I have to do is pull these values up, down here, and I get the new values. And just look at the value of pi. Slowly it is going into decimal places. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all these formulae now. And I'm going to just pull them down and see what happens to the value of pi. So now let's increase the value of the accuracy of this value. And let's get as many decimal places as we can. And as you can see, there are a lot of zeros here. Let's keep going. Let's see how many values we can get. And we'll hit a roadblock, of course, once we start getting constant values. So look at this. This is the number of sided figures we have. And the more the number of sided figures, closer it is to the circumference of the circle. Now look at this. Can you see that this value is remaining constant now, which means we have hit the maximum range that we can get. Now, if I were to insert the value of pi that is stored in this Excel sheet, all I do is equal to pi and put parenthesis and I hit this, and then I make it more accurate, try to get higher decimal values, and look what happens. Can you see? We have got the exact number that is stored in this Excel sheet, which means this is the maximum value that we can calculate based on this spreadsheet. If you can get more decimal points, better it is. But the reason these are zeros, even though they are not zeros, is because this is the maximum value that it can calculate based on its ability to deal with these kind of numbers, these high decimal place numbers. So remember, this is what Archimedes did. Something similar to this, he did a little bit more complicated method. But now we have so many beautiful tools that easily help us calculate all of that. But Archimedes did this by hand. So if you want to recollect what we just did, we got a six-sided figure, drew a circle around it, and we called this side as S1 and this is S1 by 2. Then we drew a 12-sided figure, and the new side of the 12-sided figure is S2. And based on the value of S1, we calculated S2. So to do that, what we did was we just this okay. So we used S1 to get S2. To do that, we needed B. B was 1 minus A. We got A from S1. So this is how we got a 12-sided figure. And likewise, we ended up going to a figure of 8.05 into 10 to the power 8-sided figure. And the closer and the more you get, the more accurate the value of pi becomes. So this is one of the methods by which you can get the value of pi without using any kind of calculus. Thank you so much.